that's the biggest flex in baseball.
To rob your replacement?
That is the biggest flex in baseball.
Yeah, it is.
Sports.
Yeah, it is. In life, to be honest.
Like that's the baseball equivalent of dunking on the guy you got traded for.
Yeah, really.
Literally.
What's up, fellas? We came on. We're just going to talk a little bit of baseball. We're going to get into the topic shortly. Let's have people join us. We're going to probably have the usual suspects on here. As far as dads, we'll probably see Kyle in the comments, Ty, Vic, jam-packed show. We're going to let some people come in here. I see you did the switch up on me, Ty, put on the Dodgers shirt. Even though we just took 2 out of 3 from you. We're not going to talk about that here? Is that what you mean?
It's too early in the season to talk about it. Go. You know what? I hope San Francisco beats you. And I don't care. I don't care about that series. Both teams kiss my ass.
We got Ham in the building. What's up, Ham? How you doing, bro? The Godfather himself. We need to get you on the show, Ham. And what better day to do it on 420, man? You should have been on here. But we will talk about a couple things on here. Some bets that we're going to be making possibly over the weekend, as far as some parlays, series to watch, the Scherzer ejection, and of course, the power rankings that we do every Thursday. If you're in the part of the group, join the Facebook group every Thursday. Our man Storms brings out the power ranking on Facebook, on our Facebook page. And if you haven't seen Ty's picture, it's just that worth alone to join the Facebook group just to see that. He's not wearing the shirt in the picture. It's just his smile and his grin.
That right
that
there.
A smile.
That right there is LA Dodgers fandom. You know that's the only reason you gave him the honorable mention, right?
No, there's a reason.
What's the reason?
You want to get into it now, or because we can get into it now? I mean, it's a legitimate
Let's kick
reason.
off the show. We're getting into it right now. All right, Ty, go ahead.
Yeah, man, fuck it. Hit me. Come on.
Yeah, talk about your honorable mention, which was the Dodgers. Why you give it to them? Okay,
and let it be known that the fandom did not play, here because I'm fair. Okay. Let it be known that in the standings right now, there are a lot of teams that are tippy top that are, doing work, winning games. And then there's some teams that are winning games by the skin of their teeth, like literally by one play differential, one run differential in some aspects. But one thing I can say about why I gave the Dodgers an honorable mention is because even though they are below 500 record-wise and they're kind of like on a downward spiral, it seems, they're still playing quality teams. And they played a lot of those games that, they've lost to quality teams. Teams that have won haven't played nobody worth something. I mean, that's a case you can make for the Rays, but I gave the Rays their props. But for those teams in the middle of the pack, yeah, you're doing well right now, and you're winning games against who's ever on the schedule. But who's on the damn schedule? When you look at the Dodgers, 14 of our games, 14 out of 19 have been with teams that are pulling off some great wins or that are great teams. Come on now, more than pretty much anybody else in the league right now. Except for the Cardinals. Cardinals have played a lot of good teams too.
You shouldn't give the D-backs no love.
Still too early in the season. And even though the D-backs did, take a series against us, still too early in the season. And like I said, they're one of those teams that are winning games by the skin of their teeth, literally.
You sound like a hater right now.
I got a question.
What's the question?
Is a 10-run win worth more than a 1-run win?
Absolutely
can be in
not.
some cases.
Because it's still a W.
Does a 10-run win get you any higher in the standings than a 1-run win?
Absolutely not, because it's just one W.
Are the Diamondbacks high in my
wait,
rankings?
wait!
Yes.
I'm not done. I'm not done. Answer me this: is a dub a dub?
It's a dub.
Because if a dub is a dub, then it don't matter how many runs the dub was dubbed by. The point is that the dub was dubbed.
Bars.
Dub.
So with that,
the Pirates are in your power ranking then, right?
They are.
With that, we're gonna move to the Dish Power Rankings. So our honorable mention, and we do this by votes. We rank them 1 through 10 individually. We got 4 people, which is Kat, as you see, Ty, myself, and Kyle, which is not on your screen. He couldn't be on the show today. We do it by points and where we put them, and as it goes, we have the Cubs as our honorable mention. And if you haven't been watching us, guys, I was the one that actually picked the Cubs to have a good start and possibly be a wildcard team. Well, I did say they would be a wildcard team, and right now they're showing why. So they are playing good baseball. They have veterans. They have good pitching. No right bullpen. If the lineup keeps doing what they're doing, they'll be all right. But it's still early in the season. Category, what you got to say about the Cubs?
I had them higher than an honorable mention. I'll say that. No, I mean you said it perfectly. Like while it's still early in the season, when you start off this way, you should be recognized. They're playing good baseball. They have representing the National League in run differential. Last time that I checked, I think it was like a plus 39 or something ridiculous like that.
Mm-hmm.
So for them to be doing what they're doing, even though it's around the 20 game range here, they're not even maybe at the point where they can legally drink as far as games played. But you look at the last 10 games are 7-3. You look at their winning games both at home and on the road against some quality teams. I can't say anything against them, especially when their division actually looks like it's off to the races and off to a good start at separating itself from the pack. So who knows if this will hold up for the long haul. But hey, you got pitchers that are looking unhittable, and you got hitters that seem to be finding their rhythm. So hats off to the Cubs. I hope you choke tonight, but we'll see. We're 1-1 right now.
What are you talking about?
Actually, Outman just hit a home run, so it's 2-1 Dodgers.
There you go.
There we go.
So when he's talking about pitches, I'm looking at Stroman, man. Stroman has looked really well for him. Go ahead, category. I know you were going to say something about him. Go ahead.
That's all I really got. I mean, it's early. We'll see what it looks like in July, but Stroman is just, I think he's 20, 22, 23 innings. Right now he's only allowed 1 run.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I mean, just that's not a guy that I've ever looked at and said that's an ace, but that's how he's been pitching so far.
The rotation's been looking nasty. I mean, Stroman's, of course, not a big part of that, but the rotation as a whole, it looks formidable thus far.
Thus far. Him and Smiley, I told you guys it was going to be a nice 1-2 punch, and so far it's all right. So number 10, let's move on. The Padres. Surprisingly, the Padres are in the bottom of our list, our top 10, which is surprising because they were favored to win the NL, especially when Tatis gets back. And what do you know? 420, Tatis is back. Is it coincidence? Who knows? 420 is here. Tatis is playing right field, so he is back. Storms, huh?
Said, and he's leading off tonight too.
Yes, he is. Storms, what you got to say? Quick 1-2 about the Padres.
So I had the Padres at 7 personally, but I'm happy with them being top 10 because realistically they haven't quite played like a top 10 team, but Fernando back in the lineup matters. And I debated on putting them in my top 5. That's how much of a difference I think it makes. So that's my quick 1-2 on.
What you got, Ty?
Okay, well, hold up. Ty's shaking his head. Here's why I think it makes so much of a difference. All the attention is going to be on Tatis. There's going to be less attention being paid to Juan Soto and his
He's been
struggles.
playing like ass. Who has been playing? He just
Right.
broke out of playing like ass.
Right. Right. And so he's going to have less pressure on him because the eyes are going to be elsewhere. And so I just think he can't go on much longer being this much worse than the guy we knew in Washington. And I think we've hit that point where he's about to break out of it, and Tatis being back is going to be a part of that. So,
What you got, Ty?
I got as a team, as an organization thus far, when on paper you were supposed to come
record
in,
label
swing
and
for
crew.
swing for the fences, just like their hitters have been doing this first part of the season, striking the F out in mass. Look at the strikeout counts. Look at, this team was supposed to put up runs. Have runs put up on them. They're below 500. They're struggling out of the gate when on paper we said this was going to be the team to fear.
Mm-hmm.
Teams they're not afraid of them. And maybe it's the hype. Yes, Tatis is back after probably over 500 days. The longest, he did a max bid at Rikers or something, or he was at Pelican Bay, whatever. I don't know, wherever he was in exile, but he's back now. And yes, that matters. But Soto wasn't the only one who was slumping. Machado's right there. The only person who was carrying the Padres pretty much was Bogarts. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty by himself. So why the Padres are here, I get it. I just don't like it. I gave my reasons why. You haven't.
We mentioned this on the dish before the season started. The weakness for the Padres is going to be their pitching. Their lineup, we know what their lineup can do. Their pitching, their starting pitching was going to be their weakness. The bullpen's a good bullpen. Now, their starting pitching has to hold up for them to make any noise. If they don't, they won't, and they haven't yet. But as far as the Padres go, I'm going to say one thing and one thing only. How much hype did Soto have after what he did in Washington? He can't live up to that every year. He's not going to. And for as much shit as we gave, the blonde-headed dude Harper for not carrying the Nationals or any other team to a World Series, Soto already did that. They're asking him to do it again in another city, which he's been really pretty bad, Ty, since he joined the team, man. And hopefully he breaks out of it, because you want to see him succeed. But we'll see. He doesn't have to be that man in this lineup. He has a lot of protection, unlike Washington, where he had it all on him, basically.
By the way, that Padres D-backs game starts at 9:40. It is. I know we've said it's Tatis's first game back for like 3 times already, but it's exciting though because it's our first look at Mount Crushmore.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. That is one of the best nicknames for a unit in baseball.
Don't put Soto at second, even though I think he's going second, right?
Yeah. Hold up. I just had it up here. Here we go. Tatis, Soto, Machado, Bogarts, Cronenworth, Carpenter, Kim, Grisham, Nola.
That top 5, top 6 is like best in baseball. That's so crazy. And so one thing about the list, Ty and myself were the only 2 that didn't have the Padres on the top 10. Kyle and Kat did have him on the top 10. Number 9, moving on. And this is for all of our Oriole fans, which we have a lot of in our dish group. Thanks to who started the movement in our group?
Joe, I think.
Yeah, Joe. Yeah. And every other Orioles fan joining. They are number 9. The only thing I got to say about Baltimore, and this young man is going to be the best catcher in baseball here shortly, Adley Rutschman. That dude is a beast. 309, 4 home runs, 14 RBI so far. And at home, he is stellar. He has some outstanding numbers, but I'll let Storms go ahead, man. I saw you shaking your head when I said the name. What you got to say?
That man, Adley Rutschman, is a young. This is high praise. He is a young Yadi Molina with power. And when I say young, I mean the not polished version. So I'm not saying he's going to go on to be one of the greatest all-time catchers, but he's got the tools and the potential to do that. So Orioles are playing quality baseball just like they did, the whole second half of 2022. I'm not surprised they didn't do a lot in the offseason, but I think they got a little bit better. And it's just, you know what, it's about time they got some love, because I think this is their first appearance on a Dish Power Rankings ever.
Yes.
So
A lot of
it's
honorable
about
mentions
time.
for the first one. Yep.
There's a cop. Yeah.
We
What up,
got
boy?
Kyle joining them from the field.
Literally.
Literally.
Literally, I'm walking out.
We're just talking about the Orioles being on our power ranking, man, and giving props to Adley Rutschman.
Oh, that dude will finish top 5 in MVP voting by the end of the year, if not be in the top 3 conversation. If he continues to do what he does, especially at the plate, on both sides of the plate, and becoming the leader of that ball club, which he pretty much is at this point.
By the way, that Care Bears shirt is fire, bro.
It's actually the I Don't Care Bears.
Even
That's
better.
even better.
And it's funny because everyone on our team, we're bear related on the back. And, I'm Filipino, I'm Asian, so I got Panda Bear on the back of the jersey,
And we got stoppage signs saying don't sleep
I don't care.
on Mateo at short.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Very true. Very, very true.
Yep.
What you got, Ty?
It'll be interesting if their young pitchers can parlay some recent, stud-worthy performances, ace-worthy performances even. I'm looking at you, Kyle Bradish. I'm looking at you, Dean Kramer. If their starting pitcher can hold up and rise to the occasion, you got some guys that are like I think they're mid-20s. Baltimore can, make a claim and hang with the big boys in a very beefy division. So if they cement themselves as far as with their pitching and their starting rotation, watch out.
All right. Moving on to the Blue Jays on our list at number 8. The Blue Jays kind of a surprising team right now, I would say, because they're so low. I would think that they would take advantage of the Yankees' woes in the pitching and be higher on the list, but not so far. So far, they are 4th in the standings in the NL East, which the NL East is all teams over 500 or at 500, which is crazy. But go ahead, Ty. I'll let you take this one first, man. What you got to say about the Blue Jays?
Other than the disappointment, I expected more from the Blue Jays coming out. I thought, they would, kind of stake their claim as I'm here and we're that team. They're kind of sputtering a little bit, and it seems like they're still trying to get in a groove. But it's tough to kind of understand, what they're going to do as far as to build that consistency, find their rhythm, figure it out with their rotation, because there's a lot of questions there as far as how are they going to heat up there. But they still have a lot of time. Of course, like I said, it's still early in the season, and they face some really good teams that are off to some decent starts. You just would want to set the tone, I think, and unfortunately, I'm waiting for that moment where they're ready to, really have that stake to their claim as far as me saying that they're one of the teams I would expect to be a division leader. So hopefully they'll step up. Their stars are going to be their stars. Bichette's going to be Bichette. Vlad Guerrero Jr. is going to be Vlad. But as a team, what are you going to do? And then that rotation needs to figure it out. Bassett, figure it out.
What you got, category?
Man, speaking of disappointment, Jose Barrios. Holy shit. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
like, man, if I'm a Blue Jays fan, I'm just really happy that the market on pitchers has come up so much in the last 2 years because suddenly that contract looks all right.
Yeah.
That's all I really have to say. Like, I think Barrios is a good pitcher. He has the ability to be a great pitcher, but he has been a disappointment from day one coming over from Minnesota. And I really like the guy. I think he has great stuff. Just, man, he's got to get it together. And it's not just him, like you were saying, Ty. Like, this is a great team. This is a team that's maybe talent wise, this may be like this is definitely a top 5 team in baseball, but they're playing like shit. And to be honest with you, I don't feel like they deserve to be in the top 10. But you know, that's the way it goes. We voted and I lost.
That's the way we do things around here. Now, you guys something to say, Kyle, about him?
The Blue Jays, man. I love the Blue Jays. They do so many things right. They're hitting really well right now. As long as they continue to hit, they'll do really well. But what I see is they started on fire, and they're going to hit a dead spell here in the next month or two. But in that sight of that dead spell, I think their pitching is going to come back around, and maybe what the guy that Storm's talking about. Oh God.
Barrios?
Barrios?
Yeah, Barrios. Yeah, Barrios. I think he'll maybe he comes out of that slump because Storms is right. He hasn't played well since he got over there. But they knocked off Tampa Bay when Tampa Bay won 13 games in a row. Granted, but I think at the end of the year, I think we see Toronto at the top of the AL East.
All right, let's moving on to the Twins at number 7. Surprise team right now in the middle of the pack with MVP Joey Gallo leading the way in home runs over there.
Joey Gallo's a bomb.
4 home runs and 10 RBIs and hitting a surprising 269. He's definitely a Hall of Famer now, 100%. What you got to say, Ty?
So the Twins must have spoken to Randy Orton this past offseason because his RKOs, they came out of nowhere on both sides from a hitting and pitching standpoint. Are we really looking at how the Twins coming out of the gate are looking pretty strong? Granted, I think it was today they got rocked by the Red Sox, but
the Red Sox took the series from the Twins today.
Yep.
But they actually look like they know what they're doing. And last season they didn't know what they didn't know. They really didn't have that identity. And to string along, games like this in the fashion they're doing, it's just shocking. It's hard to kind of really fathom. So who knows if it will sustain, but to have this great of a start when honestly we expected one team and one team only to run away with this division, maybe they're this year's Guardians.
This year's what?
Guardians?
There you go. Storms, what you got, bro?
Ty's right, man. They have an identity this year, and I think a big part of that comes from Correa being locked up long term. Because when everybody in your clubhouse knows your leader's about to opt out at the end of the year, and everybody and their mom thought he was going to be gone, that's a lot different than seeing one of the best shortstops in the game, one of the best players in the game, and knowing that he's your clubhouse leader, he's the guy, and he's going to be it makes it easier for the rest of the team to kind of buy into whatever they're selling. So I think that's a big part of it. Sonny Gray has been phenomenal. Their pitching in general has been better than I expected. I think the Twins are a good team. I think they're better than I thought they were going to be. I still didn't have them in my top 10 this week, but I've said in our group chat a couple of times, I'm leaning towards believing in them. Just got to see more.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see if they continue. You got anything on them, Kyle?
Club is led by Sonny Gray, who's got like what is it? It's like what point?
Like 0.58 or something.
9 yard. Yeah, it's stupid low, right? It's nice to see that he's having a bounce back year. The team itself is doing everything that it needs to do. Granted, they did just lose a series.
You're breaking up a little bit, Kyle. We'll
Yep.
come back. We'll come back to you when you get to a better spot.
Skip me.
All right. So
Before you go on though, I just have to. Do we put an asterisk for Joey Gallo? Asterisk.
100%.
100%. He's a bomb.
Shift year. So here we go. Number 6. We're gonna talk about the team that is moving up in the ranks pretty quick because they weren't on the list and now they're almost halfway through. Number 6, the Mets, which of course y'all already know my team. They were struggling at the beginning of the year. Verlander hasn't pitched yet. Scherzer just got thrown out of the game when he's going to be missing 10 games. Their starting pitching is doing pretty well, but their lineup is pretty strong here in the beginning of the year with Alonso just completely raking. Now Nimmo's on fire. But Ty, I'll throw it over to you first because we just took 2 out of 3 from you. How do you feel about that?
And you did that on purpose, you petty.
So how does that make you feel?
It's so obvious. It's so obvious. No, I mean, hey, I'll hold my L. I will say this. The Braves are still the top dog, but it's good to see that the Mets, are, in the conversation.
Man, we were gonna get to them. Why you got to bring them up? Like,
I'm just
we're talking
I
about
just
the
had
Mets
to
right
say
now.
it. I know. I just had to say it because you taking shots at me. I had to take my shots back at you.
I appreciate it. Damn.
But no, I mean, the Mets, seem like they want to rally behind the explosion that out of nowhere, Brandon Nimmo, 5 for 5.
Yeah.
Say Brandon Nimmo.
Yes, who he play for? I know who he is now.
I like how you said his last name though, Nemo, like Finding Nemo.
Right? Is that how you say it, right? I don't know.
Nimmo.
Okay. Nimmo.
Just keep hitting. Just keep hitting.
I mean, but seriously, how do you have like a great game like that? I mean, he seriously beat the Dodgers himself with that bat. So,
Yeah, he did.
but no, I mean, Buck Showalter is going to, make sure, team is ready after a very interesting season last year. May you guys not repeat the same mistakes. So,
well, they can't. They can't if they're not in first to begin with.
Right.
All right. I already feel like moving on to the next team because Storms, what you got to say about the Mets? Let it be positive, you fool.
Man, just I don't know, man. They've been playing a lot better. Like you said, excuse me. They've the loss of God.
Verlander.
What's his fucking name? Timmy Trumpet.
Oh, Diaz.
Yes, thank you.
Timmy Trumpet.
As Trav likes to call him. The loss of Edwin Diaz hasn't hurt him much yet. I still think they'll be okay without him, but we'll see. It's not easy to replace the best closer in the game.
No, Robertson has been great for them, but yeah, it's tough. And the other thing,
Told you he would be.
yeah, he is. He's a good replacement. I mean, not Diaz, but yeah. Also, Singa, the star Japanese player, 2-0
Oh,
with a
yeah, he's been
3.88
so
ERA,
good.
and that ghost pitch has been everything as advertised. Man, pitch has fooled hitters, make them look uncomfortable at the plate. He has been fantastic so far as advertised. Let's move on the list so we can get to the next topic. Number 5, the Rangers. Rangers have started out hot behind their pitching and also their lineup, hitting bombs, as we know, Seager. But the one thing that has popped up, as it has in the past, is an injury to DeGrom. 4 innings pitched, no hits, and now he's on the shelf with some stiffness. I think in his forearm. I think it was forearm or wrist. I'm not 100% sure. But we'll see. They're gonna run tests to see if he missed any time. Hopefully he doesn't. But as we've seen in the past, something very small can become something very big with DeGrom, where he winds up missing months. And we'll see where that goes. But Storms, what do you got to say about the Rangers? Storms? Oh,
Did we lose him?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
yeah.
Oh, can I go on the Rangers?
Go ahead.
Rangers pitching, man. Rangers pitching. They have what is looking like an emerging catcher. But I think getting all the pitching that they spent money on this year is what's helping the Rangers finding their identity. And I think what's his face, the coach there that just picked up in the offseason, I think he plays a huge role in the culture of them winning. But I think Texas still has a long way to go. But I think we may, if we see them, it'll be in a wild card spot. If we don't see them, it's because they barely missed it.
That pitching is going to have a lot to say at the end of the year. Ty, what you got to say?
Kyle alluded to it. Like when you double down and open up your wallet, it pays off. I will say Simeon is oof. He's rolling.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say if the rhythm sticks and they stay consistent, they could run away with what we thought was another division where there was going to be a clear one and who was going to be the standard. And obviously, challenge accepted. And the Rangers, double down, say, hey, we're here. They're, looking forward to next year. I think the Rangers are going to have a host All-Star game too. So you got one of the, bright spots as far as a new arena, new players, new coach, lots of money. If you want to double down on what the Rangers are wanting to do, it's a good bet to take.
Mm-hmm.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I couldn't hear you guys at all. I had to back out and get back in.
So Storms, the Rangers,
Yep.
what you got to say about them?
Okay. So, man, the Rangers pitching has been good. Like we said it was going to be. The starting rotation has been real good. DeGrom, excuse me. Did anybody mention DeGrom being hurt?
Yeah, I did.
He's on track to come back for his next start, though. So I've heard.
Oh, he's not going to miss any time?
So far, he's on track. Now, don't quote me on that.
Okay. The Rangers, I felt like giving them love by putting them at number 5 because they're one of these teams that I don't really believe in yet. And I think this might be their last time being that high. But I do expect them to stick around. And I think they're going to challenge for a wild card this year. We'll see. I don't as of yet. I don't have them making it, but they're going to be in the conversation. They're going to be part of this rankings on and off all year long, I think.
We'll see. I'm not too comfortable with saying that right now, but we'll see. It's still early. Number 4, one team I said before this, when I was talking the category, I do not believe in the Brewers. The Brewers are number 4 on our list right now on the dish. I think by the end of the year, we're probably going to be mentioning them in the honorable mention just because they're in the same division as the Cardinals. And as we know, the Cardinals, the end of the year, for some reason, always heating up and always making the playoffs. But the Brewers at number 4 have been a surprising team, the second best team in the NLS so far, and they deserve to be here right now. Ty, or actually Storms, I'll kick it over to you first. I was kicking at you first. Out of the Rangers, what do you got to say about the Brewers?
I believe in the Brewers more than I believe in the Rangers, for what that's worth.
Not a lot.
I don't know, man. I want to believe in them because of how bad the Cardinals have started off, and there isn't, I don't trust the Cubs. I think the Cubs are going to be better than I thought they were going to be, but I don't trust them. It's always with the Brewers. It's all going to depend on that 1, 2, 3 in the rotation. Excuse me. And one of the bright spots so far has been Christian Yelich. He's not hitting real well, but his on base percentage is a full 90 points higher than his batting average, and he right now is, despite batting .238, he's second in the National League in runs scored. And that's a big deal. We talk a lot about these guys reinventing themselves in their game as they age. Usually we talk about that with pitchers, but it's been a year or two since Yelich kind of reinvented himself as an on-base guy, but it's this small sample size so far this year is the best we've seen of that. So if he can keep it up, getting on base at this clip, I think he's a 328 right now. If he can maintain that differential between the batting average and the on base and bring the batting average up a little bit, we can stop talking about him and not stop, but we can talk about his contract being a burden on the team a little less.
Facts. Ty, what you got?
I don't know what Kool-Aid Craig Counsell got the Brewers sipping on this early in the season, but whatever it is, it's working. And there was an interesting read from a beat writer saying that the players rallied together by just building camaraderie and going to lunch together, having lunch dates. On their recent, successful series, they did that as far as just to, check in with each other, establish that sense of culture. And maybe that's what's impacting, them, really supporting each other, being a little bit more, I would say scrappy. When you think you have, a couple of games where it's going into extra innings recently, but or reinventing themselves, such as a former MVP. But it's a very pleasant surprise. They have the talent to do so. It's just a matter of just consistency with them. So let's just see that consistency, and hopefully it sticks. And Craig can keep the ship afloat.
Yeah. Kyle, you got anything to say about the Brewers, or you want us to move on?
Brewers are great, man. Their pitching is what's keeping them alive, keeping them in games. I know they struggled a little bit towards the end of last season after the trade with Hader, but it seems like whatever they did in the offseason, whatever work they did is paying off for them. And then, like I said, like everyone else has said, they're finding ways to get on base. Yelich just kind of reinvented himself, and he's not gonna put on MVP type season, but he's going to find a different way to get on base and score your runs. And he's been doing that as the leader of that ball club. And it doesn't seem like he's the leader because he's not very vocal, but I'm sure he is the leader in that ball club. And I think that's the reason why they're being successful, along with Counter as the skipper of that ship.
Yep. All right, moving on to the Yankees. Yankees, if it wasn't for the Rays' hot start, would be the best team in baseball. Well, the best AL team in baseball. And the Yankees, minus or outside of their arms being hurt, the pitching staff being hurt, they haven't missed a beat. Aaron Rodgers hit a home run in his first at bat in the new year, and
Who?
also, Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge hit a home run in his first at bat in the new year, and then also robbing Shohei yesterday, which is the pick that we use in the background for the power rankings.
And a diving catch too.
Yes, he has lived up so far to the beginning of this year. It's early, we'll see. But as of right now, the Yankees are 3. They haven't missed a beat, and props to them. Category, kick it over to you, bro. What you got to say about the Yankees?
Man, so I said I think on our last show that the Yankees and their injuries have shown me that I can't trust their pitching, and they have gone out since and just shut me the hell up. I mean they are, again, it's early. We'll see how it pans out, but right now they are top 3 or 4 in every team pitching category: ERA, ERA plus, WHIP, hits per 9. I mean, the pitching staff has been phenomenal, and it's the reason they're the only team that hasn't lost a series.
Yep. Ty, what you got?
Other than how your first at bat, Aaron Judge says, you think I deserve to get paid? Yep, I did. Swings for the fences, playing out of his mind still. But I'm going to give a shout out to the power of the stash. I don't know if Nestor Cortez is going to be, a Cy Young winner, but man, what is he on right now? Is it the stash? I mean, didn't he also have custom shoes that have his mustache on it? Is that is it a thing? Do we believe in the stash now? Because I'm pretty sure there's going to be so many people in New York who's going to be like, hey, I'm going to be like Mr. Cortez and double down on the power of the stash. But he's been solid.
We need to start a campaign to get that specific kind of mustache rebranded as the Nestache.
I want to see that mustache on Vic. That's all I want to say.
I think he's going to do it. Is he going to do it?
That's all I want to say.
I hope so.
Vic, if you're in the comments, we want that stash next show. So let's go out. And Zach, what's up, bro? We see you. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, but other than that, I also, want to shout out Trevino, who's been, playing pretty well as well. So there's a whole bunch of guys Vic could shout out and just be like, if he was on the show, he'd probably get like a 15-minute segment going just on the Yankees alone. But they're playing, they're hitting well, they're pitching well, they're also fielding well. Shout out to Anthony, with his snaggy catches lately. So
speaking of their defense, is Bader back yet?
That's a good question. I'm not 100% sure, but Vic just made the emoji with the the face that's all straight and the eyes. I don't think he approves of the stash on his face. 1, and then 2, Vic, what you said in the group.
I think he also is waiting for us to acknowledge Garrett Cole's shutout the other day.
No. Secondly, Vic, I think what you said the other day is 100% true. I don't remember if you said it in the chat or in the group. The Yankees are quite possibly the best defensive team in baseball, 100%. There's no doubt about that right now. They are the best, and they should get props for it. But
which is the weird as hell thing to say.
Yes,
Yes, it
because
is.
for a long time the Yankees have been very poor defensively. Relied a lot.
Asterisk. It's only 20 games into the season. That's like barely 20 games for some. So asterisk.
Very true.
Okay, Vic,
So-
Vic says Bader's going to be on a rehab assignment soon.
Okay, there you go. So moving on, because we're giving him too much props, his head is gonna swell. To the Braves. We're gonna make this short and sweet because I don't want Ty, or sorry, not Ty, but Trav to hear much of this, even though I was wearing his team colors. The Braves, the best team in the NL. They have been this entire year, 8-game win streak. If it wasn't for the Rays, it'd be first as far as the win streak goes, which was snapped recently by the White Sox. Go ahead.
So we actually had a tie for number one with the Rays and Braves. I just went ahead and left the Rays at number one because that's where they were. So I feel like if you have a tie, the team that already had that spot gets it, and the team that is trying to overtake them gets the next spot down.
See, smart man. That's why I like you, category. Put the Braves on number 2. Thank you very much.
But also, I had them at number one personally. So slow your roll.
Nobody cares about your damn list. So Ty, please go first.
Thank you for that. I will say this, Trav. Enjoy your moment. You can have this. Go ahead and strut. Because the Braves, are looking solid all around. So if they, just hold, tough, because you got some teams that, probably going to, hit their stride, and it's a long, long season. When you look at how the Braves have pretty much 2 guys that for the foreseeable future are going to dominate in their respective positions, it's scary. And actually 3, I would say 3. Yeah, 3. There's a couple. But they have a couple guys that are not even their prime yet. And you have one guy who came back who looks like he never left. And that's Mr. Acuna. He's back. And he's him. And he's reminding everybody that he's him. So I think that's a 40-40 season right there. I'm calling it.
You're a few weeks late, sir. I already called that.
Yes, you did.
Yes, he did. He did. Sorry for stealing your thunder, Mr. Storms. Continue, category.
Pun unintended.
Pun very intended.
Man, I'll tell you what, I was surprised when Von Grissom started the season in AAA, and he's been up for 4 days now, and he's already showing why. This is right now the best team in baseball. The reason that I had them over the Rays is because the Rays lost a series as soon as they ran into the first good team they played. Like, I know you can only play who's in front of you, but, the fact of the matter is the only team that they've played so far that is in the top 10 is the only team that's taken a series from them. And that's the Blue Jays. So, yeah, Braves are better than the Rays. On to the Rays.
According to our list, they're not. Rays are number 1. I'll take that spot right back. Rays. And since Storms wants to be a jerk, Storms, tell him why we put him at number 1.
Please do.
Okay. So another reason why I put the Rays at number 2 is, well, losing Springs is not something that I would have thought would be a big deal if you'd asked me at the beginning of the season, but the way he's performed so far, I think that's a big blow to, as far as being the number 1 team in baseball, that's a big blow to the rotation. But the Rays do lead Major League Baseball in home runs. They have only 2 position players on their roster that have hit less than 2. which is crazy to think by itself. I mean, Rosarena and Wander Franco have just opened the season on an incredible tear. The entire team's hitting. There's nothing they're not doing right at the moment. So yeah, I mean that's why, and I really have no qualms with them being number one. And that's a big reason why, because like I said, they did drop a series to the only good team they played, but it's not like they got swept. It was a 2 out of 3. And you can only play the games in front of you. And when you play the bad teams, all that matters is you do the little things right. And the Rays always do.
Yeah, Acuna for MVP and best player in baseball, says Vic. Ty, love the photo. What you got?
There's a reason for the photo. What did that man say in this photo? You play to win the game. And that's what the Rays are doing. They're winning games. Last time that I checked, they are the best hitting team for power and average in the majors. So check, Rays. They do have the best record. Check, Rays. They have the best ERA. Check, Rays. Like, damn, I'm just making it seem like they're, a juggernaut. And I don't want to say that because their schedule's been favorable and it's only, still under the legal drinking age of the season for most of these teams. But the Rays will raise, and there are Rays. So tip of the hat. They are the true number one. I don't care what some weather esteemed associate of mine says. No shade thrown, to my brother over there, but they're the number one team for a reason, because they play to win games, and they're winning games.
I love it. I love it. So if we don't have anything to add, we are going to go ahead and get into the Scherzer ejection yesterday in the 4th inning. If you guys have been living under a rock for 24 hours and do not know what's going on or what happened, Scherzer got ejected in the 4th inning in the LA game because of some sticky substance that they found before the beginning of the 4th inning, before the beginning of the bottom of the 4th. And it was kind of wild because they told him to change his glove, and they told him to wash his hands because he had rosin on it. The ump in the actual dugout told him to wash his hands, and he had alcohol, or they had alcohol for him to wash his hands with. So when he put the alcohol with the rosin, it got pretty sticky. And, well, he came out and, Ty, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay, I just want to make sure because it looked like I froze. So when he came out for the 4th, this is what happened. I'm going to play some audio for you guys so you guys can hear this for yourself. And this is coming from the Mets booth and their commentary guys as far as what's going on. It's a 2-minute clip. I'm going to play it for them. This is from SNY.
And another check of Max Scherzer, and after a heated discussion, Scherzer has been ejected from the game, presumably for having a sticky substance on his hand. The crew chief, Dan Bellino, did the ejecting, and now Buck Showalter in conversation with Bellino as Scherzer has been ejected from the game. So he had his glove switched earlier, and they're looking at the second glove, and they were looking at his pitching hand as well.
Well, what Cuzzy was telling, and Bellino got involved, is that even though it's a new glove, it feels like the old glove. Or did Max go back to the old glove and try to take whatever substance was on it or on his hand off the glove? That might be the case. He might have brought the old glove back.
So at this point, Max Scherzer was livid. He was just going crazy on the mound or in the field, saying, "This is just rosin. This is just rosin. I swear to you, on my life and my kid's life, that this is just rosin." And he was trying to explain to the umpire what it was, and the umpire basically didn't want to hear it. And he was saying it's pretty sticky, and he was pointing to his left hand. He's like, "This is my glove hand. I don't throw with my glove hand. It's my right hand." And this is where it keeps going, so you guys can hear it.
We also don't own any
said
rights to
that
this.
You could ask about every pitch.
What was that?
I said we also don't own any of the rights to this. This is all owned by Major League Baseball because we don't want to be sued.
Correct.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you, Kyle.
For baseball using sticky substances every inning. And this has become a real crazy time here in Los Angeles. So this was right before the last half inning that Scherzer pitched, before the top of the third. And put some tape on his glove hand. Is that to secure the pitch comp inside of his glove? Maybe that's what that's for. So maybe the tape inside the glove produces some sticky stuff that leaves a remnant on Max's hand.
Okay, so that was the last of the clip. So basically they're saying that they use tape on the left hand, which is right here on the inside, so the pitch comp can sit, so that way he can select what pitch with the catcher he's gonna throw before the pitch. And maybe his sweat combined with the tape that they use was creating the sticky substance, that's why he was pointing to his left hand. But my whole thing is, if he's in the dugout and he has rosin in his hand and the umpire in the dugout, which I didn't know this, and I just found this out with what they were saying in the commentary booth, is that they use rosin in the dugout in between innings. They don't really use the rosin that's on the mound. If he has too much rosin in his hand, they're going to ask him to wash his hands, whether it's with water or alcohol. So if he washes it with alcohol, rosin and alcohol, with the chemicals that they have in it, your hand gets pretty sticky. So when he went out there, they asked him to wash his hands again. The same thing happened. So when he came back out, he still had his hands very sticky, and that's when the umpires tossed him out of the game because it was on his glove and it was on his hand. Category looked like you wanted to say something. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. So my understanding, because I wasn't here for the whole thing that you played, but my understanding of the whole thing is he was, because there's a MLB compliance officer in every dugout, and he was told that his hands were too sticky, so he went and washed them with alcohol. Then what he did was he went and got the rosin bag in the dugout and rosined himself back up, and it was a combination of rosin and sweat, which is perfectly legal. The big issue here is that the rosin bag in the dugout is not pre-approved. It's not vetted by the umps. It would have been no issue if he'd have gone out to the mound and used that rosin bag there. It would have been no issue at all. So, yeah, I mean, he didn't do anything. In his mind, he didn't do anything wrong, and you can tell by the way he was acting afterwards. You know, he swore on his kids' lives that all he had was sweat and rosin, and I mean, he didn't do anything wrong on purpose, but what he did is actually against the rules.
Right.
So,
counter to that, Scherzer brought up a good point, and this is not to say that you're wrong. So it's just like a counter, just for debate purposes. Because one thing is, even though I'm looking at the scene of the crime, so to speak, in my background photo, Scherzer was quoted as saying, "There's no uniform stickiness. There's no objective, quantifiable measurement of stickiness, of tackiness, and so what? Can he be deemed legal? One inning can be deemed illegal. That in the next inning just be by applying sweat. That's my problem with this. That's what happened. There's no uniform." So I can understand from a player perspective, if you haven't done anything that you haven't done before, or that you haven't been doing thus far, if there's no technology to track spin rates, if there's no like exact measurement to where it's down to a science, would I be pissed off too? I understand. Not also, considering that your rotation at that point, it's pretty thin. You got a couple guys who are going through it, Verlander, Carrasco, Quintana. So you're relying on, the brave and the few. So I get it. I respect him because I thought he was going to appeal, but he doesn't want to be a distraction to the team. he did, kind of fight for a reduced fine, and he'll do his time, and I respect that.
Well, one other thing, and I mean, because this, like you said, yeah, I mean, all this could have easily been avoided. But another thing too, like from what I heard, he applied the rosin in the dugout right in front of the compliance officer. Like,
Yep.
like, bro, just be like, hey, Max, you can't do that here. You got to use the one out on the mound. That's all it would have taken.
Yep.
That's all it would have taken. It's all rosin. There wouldn't have been any difference, except that he wouldn't be getting a 10-game suspension now.
Yeah, 10-game suspension and the fine right now. More than anything, it's a bigger thing because the Mets are down some pitchers already, like Ty was saying. It's a loss. I mean, if you think about it, he's going to miss 2 starts. But it gives him time to heal up. He is an older pitcher. 2 starts it really isn't that bad, especially earlier in the year. It'd be more, I guess, hurtful to the team if it was during the home stretch and the end of the year. But the thing is here with the rosin, man, and I talked to you guys about this with the umpire Phil Cuzzy. He's the one that's thrown out all 3 players now, or has been part of the staff that has thrown out all 3 players now that have been ejected due to sticky stuff.
And
So,
the guy that tossed Mad Bum last year, over, I can't remember what that was for. It wasn't the sticky substance, but he was the crew chief.
Correct. Yeah, Zach, you're right. 10 games is nothing. It's 2 starts. I mean, it'll probably benefit him because he's an older arm, if anything. But at what limit? And I read a tweet also, and this was from Talking Baseball, that guy that does the voices and everything, like the lips, that reads the lips, Tommy Boy, to where there was some tweets from the Empire saying that this was the stickiest stuff that they've ever seen on somebody's hand from them starting to check the pitcher's hand, which was a couple of years or last year. And that's saying a lot, you know what I mean? Especially if you have an official in the dugout to where it can easily be stopped saying, hey, don't use this rosin, use the rosin on the mound. Like, come on, man. You're going to let a premier pitcher do this and get suspended for 10 games and miss some time with this team. All right, I understand, like I said, it's in the beginning of the year, but how about in the home stretch? You know what I mean? Like, at least tell him, hey, don't do it with that. Or at least Max, I guess, kind of get the idea of now you can't do that and don't use alcohol. But as far as this, this goes, this was why the rule was made. No sticky substance on the field, even though every pitcher does it, and we know that every pitcher does it. It's just to what limit and how sticky the stuff is. It looks like you wanted to say something, Ty.
Oh, no. I'm just agreeing, taking it all in. And like I said, I have respect for Max. How many times has this happened? How many times has it been the discussion? You look at the video and the clips of him and how upset he was. You wouldn't be that upset if it wasn't somewhat justified.
Yeah, and in his post game conference, he said, he's like, I would be a damn fool and stupid knowing that I'm going to get checked before the bottom of the 4th to do something, to come out to the umpires, give them my glove in my hand, and them checking me and them tossing me out of the game. It makes no sense for me to do that. And, I kind of believe him, and how he was acting on the field. He was upset. He was pissed. He did not want to get thrown out of the game. And once he tossed him, he couldn't believe it. Anything you got to add to it, Storms?
No. Like you said, if anything with his age, it's probably going to end up being a plus for him down the stretch. And the Mets do have a pretty thin rotation, but I think they'll be all right. Just trying to find a couple spot starts.
I agree.
If it was anything more than that, I'd be worried.
I agree. So moving on to the meat and potatoes of the show. I know the rankings took a little bit of time, but we have to discuss as far as what's going on, why we put them everywhere. The biggest news right now in baseball, and it's been a long time coming, honestly. And we just wanted to see what team and where they were moving to. The Oakland A's. The Oakland A's will be the Oakland A's no longer. They are moving to Las Vegas. They have a deal in place. $1.5 billion, Storms?
For the stadium itself, yeah, but it's a 49-acre development deal.
Yes. So Oakland soon will no longer have any professional teams because the A's were the last team standing, and they will be moving soon when we will see. But it has been a long time coming with the A's. The ticket sales, if you haven't been seeing, some double A or even triple A or sometimes even double A teams have been getting more draws and more seats and asses than the Oakland A's. And yes, that sign in your background, Ty, is perfect right now. They will be moving to Nevada, Las Vegas, in fact, and they will be departing Oakland soon. What you got to say about that category?
Well, so one thing that you said, one part of that really hits a little different. It's been a long time coming. The reason for that is I have kind of felt for a long time that the A's were doing enough in Oakland to just make sure that they were seen making a good faith effort to stay in town. I don't think they ever intended to remain in Oakland. If that's the case, if they really wanted to stay in town, I think they would have maybe tried to find an alternate site versus trying to put that whole development deal right in the port, the stadium, the housing, the all that stuff. Like like I said in the group chat earlier, the logistics of doing that in a working seaport is a nightmare. It's nuts. It's bananas. It's whatever food adjective you want to use for it. But yeah, like, and then trying to get the city of Oakland to pay $12 billion for something like this after you've watched the only other two professional sports teams in town walk away because they weren't getting the money they needed it just screams smoke screen to me. And I'm not saying that's 100% what I think, but I wouldn't be shocked at all to learn that they never had any intention of staying in Oakland. So I can't remember the name of the casino group that owns the land, but it's a binding agreement. So they 100% will be in Las Vegas right now. Supposedly their first season in Vegas will be 2027. I would not be surprised also to see it happen sooner than that.
Yeah, man. Ty?
I think if you're in the Bay Area, you have a faction of diehards that are like disappointed, sad, and frustrated. Obviously, local lobbyists and politicians felt they were blindsided. But like Storm said, this was the writing was on the wall. And when you have issues of a franchise or organization and team, saying, okay, we want to improve conditions, but what will those who will attend games and buy concessions and support us financially to do so, what are they going to contribute even more to what we're putting down? So there were negotiations taking place, but obviously the organization and Manfred were like, hey, we're doing this because this is what's best for business, and at the end of the day, it's a business decision, and it makes sense to go where the money is going to be available to that organization's liking. So you think of how many teams have left in how many years, you just can't get a deal done. And shout out to Big Shot Ron for pointing that out. How many teams? 3 teams in 5 years. It's not, the organizations. Obviously, something's, not going on in the Bay Area that's willing to keep these once prized, franchises and loyal to the Bay from leaving.
They've now had 3 teams leave 5 times.
Crazy. Crazy. But, we were talking in the chat a little bit, and I want to touch on this too. I know the A's have been horrible for years. I know the A's haven't had any.
It hasn't even really been all that bad, man. Like
it has been.
They
When they've been bad,
it's been bad for a few years, but they made the playoffs like 6 years in a row.
But when they've been bad, they've been bad. And even
without looking up the numbers, they've probably lost 325 games in the last 3 seasons.
Dude, that's a lot.
Well, I'm saying is it's not like they've been really bad for a really long time. It's been a few years. They were good before that for an extended period.
You're right, but not only that, this is the second part that I'm getting to. Even when they were good, they wouldn't put in really a lot of ass in seats during the week. So you can't really put the blame on the franchise when the franchise was when they were good. They wouldn't put in any ass in the seats, and it's like going to a restaurant where nobody's buying the food. How are you going to maintain a restaurant? You're not going to continue paying the bill or upfronting, the rent when you're like, how am I going to pay this for 3 months? Down the line when nobody's coming to eat my food. You can't do it. I understand the owners are billionaires, but this is a business at the same time. You want to take it to a city where you're going to make some revenue. And right now, the city that's the hottest, where they just got 2 new franchises, is Vegas.
Well, and that's what I was getting at though. Like the lack of support in that city for how good they've been relatively is just insane. And I know they've been ass for 3 years now, but when you get outdrawn by 11 minor league teams in the first week, I think it was the first week of the season, like that is pathetic. If and you can't, I don't care if it's a Wednesday day game. If you have games where you can't bring in 3,000 fans, you have no business having a franchise there.
So I love it right now. We got Larry and Zach going at it in the comments. Larry saying, "I'm just happy that the taxpayers didn't give them a deal. Owners are billionaires. Let them pay for it. They weren't blindsided. They stood tall. I wish more cities did that. Look at what happened with the Bucks. City gave them hundreds of millions. Mark Lazary, who I have met, nice guy in real life, but he sold his stake for 3.5 billion." And then Zach says, "Congrats, you stood tall and lost a major revenue generator. You sure showed them." And then Larry saying, "We paid for the Yankees and Mets stadiums here and got 0 out of it. Where the fuck are they gonna go? Teams aren't major revenue generators. Let's stop repeating that. You are more valuable to your team at your house than you are at the stadium."
Larry, you didn't get nothing out of paying for the Mets and Yankees stadiums, because guess what? These owners are billionaires. But I don't give a damn if it's Steve Cohen or Phil Castellini's or the Fishers, and I don't give a damn if it's Baltimore or New York or Memphis or wherever baseball ends up. If the city's not going to help you buy a stadium or build a stadium, you're taking that as somewhere else. So you didn't get nothing out of helping the Mets and Yankees buy a stadium. You got Major League Baseball still in New York. That's what you got.
Correct, 100%. And not only that, let's get back to this. And this was now going back to Katrina. Remember, the Saints were struggling. The Saints were a team that were thinking about moving out of New Orleans. Katrina happened, and everybody came out for that team. The whole stadium was full because of Katrina. Now the Saints are a staple in New Orleans. The Saints aren't going anywhere. That's one team and one franchise that you can point at and you can say they put ass in seats. They sell out because of the city, and the city has their back. They're not going anywhere. Now, other side of that is now the A's. You don't have their back. You act like you don't care. The city doesn't show up for the team. Well, guess what billionaire's gonna do? He's gonna take his money elsewhere. He's gonna take it to a city to where he's gonna generate some money, get some of that money back. Yeah, he has TV contract. Yeah, he has this and that. Yeah, this may be his toy, but at the same time, that person wants to generate money. Yes or no, Ty?
We've seen the precedent many times, many times. Look at what happened in California on the South Side. There's a reason why there's not a team in San Diego anymore in the NFL. There's another NFL team that was in Oakland. It was one of those 3 teams that left in 5 years. That's in Vegas now. So time and time again, we've seen, and even in Phoenix, there was talks, and there are talks of, what are we going to do with Chase Field, or before their renovations started happening for the Suns. Sarver was contemplating selling. So, and he eventually did. But there were long talks as far as like, what are we going to do as far as we're going to renovate what is now Footprint Center, or do we need something else? So every city, everywhere, every sport, anywhere, these conversations happen.
Larry, I agree with Zach, man. You're crazy if you think that Oakland is no better or worse without the A's. That's like saying, let's take it back a couple even more years. How about the Seattle Supersonics when they left Seattle? How hurting are they now to have a basketball team? And how prominent was that team when they were there? You cannot say moving a franchise and taking them to another city does not hurt a city. Yes, it does.
Or giving them a new facility. Shout out to the Sacramento Kings. Light the beam. There was talks a couple seasons ago that Sacramento was going to go bye-bye.
Facts.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, also Larry, you're right. The Mets and the Yankees were never going to go anywhere. And the reason for that is because if the city said, we're not going to help you build a stadium, they would have both said, all right, we'll just fucking leave then. And then the city would have been like, wait, we'll pay. So that's why they were never going to leave town, because the city's not going to take a chance to let you think the city of New York is going to risk letting the Yankees leave town,
or even the Mets for that. The 2 major teams are not going anywhere. You're crazy.
Yeah, because the Yankees will still be the biggest draw in Major League Baseball. They could go to Nashville. They're still going to be the Yankees.
Yeah. So with that being said, if you're a city and you have a major sports team, try not to lose them, because they're there to generate money for the city. And also, it's a business. If they see they're not generating money and they're not putting any ass in seats, some other city will put ass in seats and you'll be asked out. So,
and fans, go to a game. Catch a game.
Yeah.
One game.
How cheap were tickets there during the middle of the week? You would say they had to be as cheap because nobody was going. You could probably find $7 tickets. 100% you could probably find $7 tickets. But anyway, let's move on. We're going to a new phase in the show, to where we're gonna give you a bet of the week, meaning we're gonna pick whether it's a parlay, straight up bet, props, whatever it is. We're gonna give you a bet to where I'm personally gonna put money on this bet because I found one that's pretty cool. But I'm gonna let Storms kick it away first in his parlay. Is it a 3-leg bet? What is it, Storms? What are you putting up?
Yeah.
And what are you doing?
So I'm doing a 3-leg parlay for tomorrow's games. So my Reds are in Pittsburgh with Graham Ashcraft going against, who was it?
I think it was Keller.
Yes, against Brad Keller. So I've got the Reds money line at plus 112. I've got Graham Ashcraft over 4.5 strikeouts at plus 130. And for the White Sox at the Rays, I've got over 8.5 runs at minus 115 for a total on the parlay of plus 637.
So meaning if you put $100, you will get $767 back for putting 100 on a 3-leg parlay.
Correct.
That's a nice chunk of change right there. I'm I myself, I am going with the same first game that category picked. I am going as well with Ashcraft over Keller, plus 112. And the other two games I'm picking as far as money line goes, I am going with the Twins at home against the Nationals because the Nationals are some garbage. And Otani on the mound in LA, you can't go wrong against the Royals. And the 3-leg parlay will give you a plus 320. So if you put $100 on that parlay, you will get 420 back with your initial bet of $100. I personally am going to put $50 on this bet, and I will talk about it next week, see if I won any money. So if I put $50 on this bet, I win 160. So we'll see if this bet comes to fruition and we make a little bit of money. Storms, are you going to personally put money on your bet?
Yep, I'm putting 25 down to win 159.49.
Let's go. Let's win some money. Ty, you got a bet for the people this week?
It's risky, but if you two, like the tie through, love to live dangerously and eat terribly, the parlays, are meant to be played. There's an interesting one you can calculate. It's a two-legger. If you say that tomorrow against the Rockies, Trey Turner is going to hit a home run, or if you say Adley Rutschman's going to hit a home run too against the Tigers, you're looking at a $10 bet getting you a lot of money. That is a lot of money for a home run, to the tune of that $10 bet getting you $406 on FanDuel, people.
That's a pretty good bet. Trey Turner and Adley Rutschman. Well, we talked about and Adley, so can be done for sure. So with that being bet, with the bets being made and some money hopefully being made as well, we will be going into our weekly picks or weekend picks for series. If you want to kick it off, Ty, go ahead and pick your series, sir.
Oh boy, so many good games, such little time. But what will I do for this weekend? I am actually going to look long and hard for the Blue Jays and Yankees. Dodgers and Cubs were tempting, but I got to keep it in the AL East. AL East is always intriguing. I love a good matchup. Can the Blue Jays, really give the Yankees a run for their money? We all know this, but the Yankees are rolling. So let's see who comes out on top.
All right, that's an interesting pick, man. I like it. Go ahead, Storms. What you got?
Just because it's his first game back, give me the D-bags. give me the Diamondbacks and the Padres.
Okay.
I'm just really excited to see the Padres at full strength, and the Diamondbacks have been on this good run to open the season. I'm excited to see how much longer they can keep this going. I believe they've already taken a series from the Padres, haven't they?
I believe so.
Yeah.
The Diamondbacks, yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right.
I might catch one of those games this weekend. You might. Hey, by the way, shout out to Kyle and the huge Sonoran dog. I need one of those in my life, so I may get one this weekend.
By the way, just because it's game one of that series tonight, right now at the end of the third inning, it is Padres 4-1.
All right. I like it. So my series is I want to watch Houston and Atlanta. It's going to be interesting to see if Houston can pick it up against a good team in Atlanta, as we already talked about. Houston has fallen out of our top 10 power rankings probably for the first time ever since we started doing power rankings. They were usually 1 through 3 very easily year in and year out. And even at the beginning of the year, they were there. Let's see if Houston gets it rolling against a good team in Atlanta, man. Lineup, pitching, and everything. Houston got to get the ball rolling, and let's see if this is the time to where they pick it up this weekend against Atlanta. All right, fellas.
I hate both teams. Just
Is Garcia pitching in this series?
That's a good question. I will tell you here in a second.
Thing with Garcia, he's had to totally revamp his windup because of the new rules. Because he was always the rock the baby guy,
Yep.
right? But he's had to shorten up his windup to avoid pitch clock violations.
Yes, he has.
And it's really messed with him early on, and so that's another thing to watch is to see if he can settle in and get it going with his new windup.
He's not pitching. And actually, the pitching matchups are pretty good this weekend. That's another reason why I picked them. So it's a Brown that's 2-0 against Elder again. That's 2-0 on Friday. We have Valdez going on Saturday against. I'll tell you right now.
Cal Wright.
That's going against Cal Wright, and then we have Garcia. I believe I saw on Sunday. Javier going on Sunday against Max Fried. So 3 really good pitching matchups. That's another reason why I picked this series. So I would say my money is on this series. Watch it. Pretty good baseball is going to be seen over there in Atlanta. Guys, this has been a great show. Closing thoughts. I like that you still have Vegas in your background, Ty. What's going on, man? What you got to say to the people?
Place your bets. Play with house money. Take those risks. You never know what's going to happen, this season. If I come back, with another new Dodgers jersey, you know why. Because Trey Turner and Adley Rutschman made me rich.
So category.
Man, by the way, just because I won't shut up about it, Tatis so far is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Man, I'm like Ty. I'm just ready to see if it's not gonna be enough to make me rich, but see if Graham Ashcraft and the White Sox and who the hell was it? Anyway, they can make me enough to get a brand new stitched jersey from MLBshop.com. So.
Oh yeah, let's get some more jerseys. I got to bring the hat game in too, man. I need to bring more hats.
Speaking of jerseys, this is my Shohei Ohtani Japanese jersey. I couldn't bring myself to purchase to buy a jersey of another major league team. So it's not an Angels jersey, but it is
good man. Good man.
It is Ohtani though.
All right. Well, you went the smart way. That's the way to go. Guys, if you haven't, please, if you enjoy the content, if you like the show, go ahead, subscribe. You already know what that button is here on YouTube. If you don't want to subscribe to the YouTube, at least join the Facebook group, The Dish. We talk baseball, power rankings, post up every day about baseball, whether it's our team, everybody else's team. We keep you in the loop as far as what's going on with baseball. If you just want to go in and talk baseball, talk shit, join the group. We'll talk shit with you. We'll probably even kick you out the group because you talk too much shit. No, I'm just saying. I'm just playing. But join us if you want to talk baseball. A lot of baseball heads in there. We love baseball. We just love watching the game, talking about the game, learning about the game. If you ever want to be on the show, shoot us a message. We'll get you on here. Come on in. And we'll be back next week. Do the same thing. Power rankings, some bets, and talk about some major topics going on. We'll see you guys next week. Later.